Oh, shalom, damn it, shalom. This is your old pal, Rabbi Sol Solomon. I gotta tell you, I haven't even eaten matzah yet. I'm already constipated for the holiday. But ladies and gentlemen, this is the perfect time to talk about food. We are gonna be talking about delicious Jewish kosher-style food with a man who knows how to make it and make it good. Ladies and gentlemen, joining me in the neighborhood on this Shabbos, it is March 27th, 2021. We are talking with a man who knows from pastrami, from lokshen kugel, from chicken soup, from, I'm assuming, well, no, he wouldn't know from spiced ham, but there are other things he would know from. Ladies and gentlemen, would you please welcome to the neighborhood, Rob Clement. Shalom, Rob.
Shalom, how are you?
I'm good. How are you, Mr. Clement? How's it going? May I call you? Wait, let me call you. What is your Jewish name? What is your Hebrew name?
Benzion.
Ben Zion. Oh, is that your lovely wife walking behind you? Who's that?
That was my wife walking by me, and my daughter, and the whole family's here. We're making breakfast.
Shalom to the fam. So, are you making is it a Passover breakfast yet, or are you having normal food?
Not yet. Actually, my wife wanted pancakes this morning. Regular pancakes, not matzo meal pancakes. So she's in the kitchen doing pancakes right now.
Look at this. That's a Jewish wife. Let me tell you. Are you doing a seder tonight? Where are you doing the seder?
So we're doing a little small thing. We have two small kids. So my daughter is 3, and she'll be 3 next week, and then our son is about 18 months.
Oh gosh,
18 months, yeah, something like that. I can't keep track of the months this anymore. So we're gonna do something small. I think we have some family. We're gonna do something on Zoom and check out something with them. But the kids are usually asleep before sundown, so it's kind of hard to do a real seder.
Well, if they take it from someone who has 21 and a half beautiful children, and the way to do this, if they misbehave at the Seder, especially when they're 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, a heaping tablespoon of the horseradish. And
no, so our daughter goes to like a Jewish preschool. Our kids go to a Jewish preschool, and they did a Seder last night or yesterday. They did a Seder in class, and she actually like ate the whole heaping tablespoon of horseradish I gave her. She loved it. She's
wow.
She's daughter of a chef, I suppose.
Well, you never know. This is amazing. And yet charoset she can't touch. Who knew? Isn't charoset the best thing ever? Don't you love charoset?
We do love charoset. It's one of my favorite things.
How do you, a chef, a cook, a gourmand or gourmet, how do you make your charoset?
So we do it the traditional, like Ashkenazi style, with apples, walnuts, honey, red wine, a little bit of salt, some cinnamon. You gotta add salt. You gotta balance everything out. Cinnamon, nutmeg, a lot of warm spices. The one we did yesterday for the meals we did, we added a little bit of cardamom to it, and then we also, we kind of mix it up and change the flavor profiles a little bit, but keep it as traditional as we can.
Can I ask you, do you have Netflix? Are you a Netflix?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So which of all the cooking shows, which do you binge on? Which are your favorite?
Just on Netflix? Or in general?
Okay, regular TV too, or Hulu.
So my favorite is probably Top Chef. Just because I think there's a level of cooking on that show that's pretty interesting, and it's really from the chef's perspective more so than just about the food necessarily. But if we're talking just strictly food, there's a show. It's actually an old show. It's not on anymore, but it's called Mind of a Chef. So it was an old show that David Chang and Anthony Bourdain collaborated on, and it was a PBS show, and it was kind of going through the thought process of chefs as they created food and why they created food and the story behind the food. And it was very like kind of food nerd kind of food. But
the thing is that kind of Anthony Bourdain is like, I'm going to kill myself. I mean, I don't know if I want to watch that, but no.
Well, no, I think Well, he was an executive producer. He wasn't on that. And the thing about Anthony Bourdain, I think you know, he's a good indication of a lot of the issues in our industry.
Like what?
So, I mean, there's a lot of things that go on in food, in restaurants specifically, where it's through history, it hasn't been very equitable for the people doing the work every day. And it's been a lot of work for very little reward. There hasn't been a very big emphasis on mental health and physical health and any health really, financial health for the people doing the work. So it's you know, when he took his own life, that was a big thing for our industry, because he was like, I grew up, I'm 34. I was in high school when his books came out. And so I read those, and those were like something that I read when I started getting into food. But I'm also young enough to understand that the way that things were when he started is not a sustainable way of doing things. So it's kind of interesting. There's a push right now in our industry for people to kind of create better environments for the people who work with them. And so that's a big reason why what we're doing. So I don't know how we got into this, but
well, we're talking food. Now let us explain to the people who are watching this program, all three of them, let us get that schmutz off your lip. Okay, now what the hell? What is in your ear? Are you piercing your ears, or is that headphones?
No, these are headphones. So just in case my kids start screaming, they're playing. So my daughter's playing in the kitchen.
Oh, that won't bother us at all here. Yeah.
Here, I'll take them out. Yeah. I'll take them out. So. There we go. Oh,
yeah, one right here. Yeah. Will you smack that thing? Okay, here we go. So here's the question. You can leave them in. I just wanted to tummel with you a little bit. But here's why we have Rob Clement on this program, on Dave's Gone By today, especially the day that we're beginning the Pesach holiday. It has to do with, you were working at, you were not working, you were would you say you were a chef or what's the word, at a restaurant?
So I was an executive chef. You're talking before Meshuggah, right?
Right. Yes.
Yeah. So I was an executive chef. So I was running the food program. So I handled the kitchen, hired, fired, scheduled, created the menu, costed the menu, ran the day-to-day, trained my guys, everything from every item of food that came out of the kitchen, I was responsible for, and all the people inside of that kitchen.
Now, let me ask you, and basically before we get to your next step, so is that like a 50-hour-a-week job? Is it a 90-hour-a-week job? Was it literally like dawn to dusk every day?
I'd say so. It depends on the restaurant. My specific job that I had, there's what you're asked to work, and there's what you actually end up working, and those are two different things. So if you asked former employers, they'd probably say it's like a 50-hour-a-week job, but if you ask my wife, she'd say it's probably like an 80-hour-a-week job, because so we're a 7-day-a-week restaurant. We're over 200 seats. It's a big operation, so it's very hard to get ahead in that situation. So you're always playing catch up, kind of, in terms of prepping food.
I love ketchup. Ketchup is delicious. No,
I can't stand ketchup.
Whoa!
It's one of my least favorite. It's probably top 3 least favorite foods in the world.
I am so sorry, Rob Clement, but I think you have the mental illness now. Because, forget Anthony Bourdain, no human being cannot love the beauty, the wonder, the gloriousness that is ketchup, especially if you're Jewish. So wait, if this is one of the worst 3, what are the other 2?
Lemon pepper seasoning.
Oh, I like that.
The stuff in the little jar, and then number 3, what's the other one? Yeah, I don't know the third one. I'd have to think about that. I'd say those are the 2 that I really just can't stand.
Is it a snobbery thing where you resent ketchup because people they take a beautiful steak and it's made just right, and then they just plop it in ketchup, and all they're tasting is ketchup? Is that your problem with it?
No, I don't care. It's your food. You eat it how you like it. I personally just don't like it. It's just too sweet. I'm not a big fan of overtly sweet food, especially when it comes to ketchup's usually with savory foods. Like it's added as a condiment to savory foods. It's not really my thing. I'm a mustard guy. Like I love mustard.
Oh,
So like,
have you ever mixed ketchup and mustard?
sure, yeah.
That is
So that's the thing. I like ketchup as a component to another sauce.
okay.
But I don't like ketchup as itself on its own. It's just I don't even if I'm eating French fries, I don't even use ketchup.
Okay, we're talking about French fries right now. What do you put on a French fry?
I don't put anything on a French fry.
You just eat the.
Oh yeah, my wife said I do like. There's like this Japanese mayonnaise called Kewpie mayo that I like. So oftentimes if we're having French fries and like we're making fries or something at the house, I'll whip up some like random special sauce with the stuff we have in the fridge. So
all right,
that's kind of my thing. I am a sauce person. Just ketchup, I don't know. Like you will never catch me putting ketchup on a hot dog ever. Like that is sacrilegious. Like that's not happening. Not in our house. Even if our daughter wants it, we're not.
You hurt my soul.
I'm
But
sorry.
I continue. We move forward. So here you are. You've got, and as an executive chef, does that mean, do you ever actually touch the plates, the things in the, or are you just ordering people, cook it this way, do this, why is this out? Come on, get that.
So again, the restaurant industry is very diverse in terms of the style of service. So
obviously your wife in the kitchen is very diverse too. What the hell is she doing there? All I hear is bang, bang, bang. What is she making the pancakes out of? Rocks?
She said first pancake syndrome, she said. The first pancake never works out. That's what she was.
No, that's not true either. The first pancakes are the best because they're nice and puchka and and then the next ones get denser and heavier and blacker.
But
yeah.
So my job, so specifically where I was, yes, I touched plates. So I was what some of us would call a working chef. So I actually worked the line and I cooked every night as well as running the kitchen while I'm doing that. So like depending on the night, like I generally would work. So I was running a steakhouse. So I would work a saute station most of the time because that's where you develop flavor, and it's also right in the middle of the kitchen, the way it was set up. So I kind of touch more dishes that way. I touch more plates and see more food. I mean, granted, there are restaurants where the chef will touch every single item that goes out of the kitchen and taste everything that goes out of the kitchen. I've worked in
that molestation? I don't know, but then no.
No, what I mean is like when they're making it in a pan, you have tasting spoons, and like the chef will taste things. Like I've worked in these places where you have to have your food tasted no matter how long you've worked in a place, because at a certain point, if you're tasting a dish over and over and over and over again, you kind of palate gets fatigued, I guess. So like having more people taste it ensures that it's going to go out right.
I think that's fair. I think that's sensible.
Yeah. I mean, and it also is not, I mean, you don't want your restaurant just going on the whim of a certain cook the way they like food. Like, I don't like ketchup. You like ketchup. Like, I might like more salt than you like. And like, so you have
I don't think you could possibly like salt more than I do. I love salt. Okay.
So do I. But you can't, so the restaurant I was in specifically, we didn't really have an opportunity where I could sit in front every night and kind of just bark orders and look at food. And like, that really wasn't the situation. There were times where I was able to do that when we were really well staffed and I had a great team. And it was kind of like, there wasn't a place for me, because at the end of the day, like, I'm going to let our cooks cook because that's what they're there to do. And then I could manage and kind of keep an eye on some of the greener cooks, if you will, and kind of coach people up during service and help put out fires, if you will. So not actual fires. So it's like,
well, no. And are there times? I mean, if you're sautéing something,
there are fires sometimes. We had a broiler in the restaurant, and I once put some butter on top of the broiler in a pan to soften, and didn't tell the broiler cook when he came into work, and he turned the broiler on, and about 5 minutes later he had about 10 pounds of butter melting into a hot broiler. That wasn't good. We used a lot of bacon.
Number one thing
We used a lot of baking soda to put that out.
I hear you. Now, so here's the deal. So you have this job that's very stressful, but big job in a fancy ass restaurant. Okay, great, fantastic. Everything's going fine. Well, by the way, where was this? Was this in
I was in Charlotte. Yeah.
You were in North Carolina. How?
Yeah.
You don't have like a southern accent of any kind. Where you come from?
Yeah, I'm not from here. So I'm originally from Clearwater, Tampa, Florida, that area. I was born down near Miami. My wife's from South Florida. My parents went to high school in Miami Beach, but my mom is originally from the Bronx. My dad spent most of his life in Miami, but his family's from Philadelphia. So our families are from up north. By the time I came around, we were in Florida. But as you know, Florida is like the Jewish retirement home of New York.
Yes, it is. Yes. So. But here's the question. Then I'm sure with all those Jews there, with that kind of cooking, you stay there. But is it like the radio life where if you're starting out in radio, you go to a station in a city, you stay there 2-3 years, and then you have to get out of the state to go somewhere else was your career as a cook like that, or as a chef like that?
I mean, for me, it kind of was, but it doesn't have to be. Especially now, it was, so again, like I started cooking almost 20 years ago now. Like,
how old are you? You look like you're 25.
34. So I was 15 when I got my first cooking job. And that was actually in the Hamptons in New York. So that was a summer job. My aunt and uncle lived up there. They're very religious Jews. They got me a job after my grandmother had passed away. They got me a job up in New York, working up there. With a friend of theirs who had a restaurant. So I spent 2 summers up there and while I was in high school, and went from having never worked in a kitchen to by the beginning of, mid second summer I was there, I was running the grill every night. So, and I was 16 and we were in the Hamptons and like,
usually by 16, 17, you got kids that just basically working the fryer at McDonald's.
Yeah.
Or running the grill like a restaurant.
And like I was cooking burgers for Puff Daddy and
but what the hell was Puff Daddy doing in an Orthodox community it
was West Hampton Beach. Like he lived out there. He had a house out there. So like it wasn't like a Jewish restaurant. It was just a restaurant that Jewish people owned.
So Puff Daddy liked for cooking?
Well, he got burgers for his family. They never came into the restaurant. They were in the limo outside, and their driver came in and got. Yeah. So
who else famous did you serve back when you were 17 years old?
That's it. I think Howard Stern came in once, and that was it. The 2 of them.
Okay.
They're the only ones I knew. I mean, honestly, I don't know. I was a kid. There were probably more people, but at the time I probably had no idea.
But now you're a high school kid still, or heading towards college age. You've had 2 full summers of real experience. Mm-hmm. You went to college though, yes? Or you?
So I did go to. I went to college. I didn't finish college. So I did not go to culinary school. When I graduated high school, I went to University of South Florida, which was in Tampa. I was there for a couple of years, and while I was there, I was moonlighting at some restaurants. I worked at Hooters for a little bit.
Oh, Hooters! Goddamn! Tell me, how do you keep your eyes on the food there? Let me ask.
I stay focused on the food. That's what I was there for.
I know your wife's buzzing about. You can't really say, but
I try to be a gentleman. That's all.
As a trick, I've heard that the wings there are really, really good. They know how to do wings.
Honestly, I haven't eaten Hooters in a long time. That's the only job I ever got fired from, actually.
What the heck? Well, how did you?
I didn't do anything bad. I didn't show up for a shift. I got in a car accident. Didn't show up for a shift. So.
And you were in a car accident, and the sons of bitches fired you?
Yeah, no call, no show. So it is what it is. It's a good thing.
Yeah.
It is what it is. I didn't want to work at Hooters for very long, but then after that, I left. I actually dropped out of college when I was like 19. So after my 3rd semester, I dropped out and started dealing poker, of all things.
Wait, what? I never read this part about your, but what?
Yeah, no, a lot of people don't know my whole bio. My bio's all over the place. I dealt poker for a little while in Tampa at a horse track, and did that for a few years.
Years?
And then during the summer, so we weren't open during the summer because the horses is Tampa, so it's too hot. The horses can't run during the summer. So during the summers, I worked at a summer camp here in North Carolina. So the camp I went to as a kid, it's actually where I met my wife. So we both worked there.
And the first night you met her, did you poker? No, I'm sorry. That's a little joke there, a little comedy. But did you start working as a cook in the camp?
No, I was a counselor. So I was a camp counselor.
All right.
But so I was at that point, I had moved up to Tallahassee. And I was working in like random college town kitchens. I was a hibachi cook for a little while. I worked in like seafood house for a bit. Some sandwich shops all over the place. Just college jobs. But then my wife actually was in Boston in school, and we were doing this long distance relationship thing. And she said, I don't want to do this long distance thing. And I had said, I don't want to do this school thing anymore. I don't like school. So she said, we'll move up here. So I picked up me and my dog. We moved up. We lived in her tiny little 1-bedroom. Well, it was a 3-bedroom apartment with 2 roommates. We lived in this little bedroom in Boston. And there, like, my thought process was, well, I know how to cook, so maybe I can get a cooking job, and that's what I'll do. I don't know anybody in Boston except for my wife, my now wife. So I ended up going all over the city looking for jobs. I staged, so that's like doing a free shift with a restaurant to kind of, so it's a feeling out process for you. It's a feeling out process for them. So I went to Number 9 Park, which is a Barbara Lynch restaurant. So she's like one of the most well-known chefs in Boston. She's like a pretty impressive restaurateur. So I did a stage with her, and it was the first time I was exposed to like true fine dining.
I'm amazed. No offense, but I'm amazed you got with no culinary school thing and just working for like up in Hamptons and in college jobs. How did you get that gig?
So that wasn't a job. That was a kind of an interview.
Well, one night stash, you said.
It was a one night to see what I could do. I came in there and they told me afterwards, they're like, look, you seem like you want to do this, but you clearly are not ready to work in this kitchen. Like, go get a job. And like, go get a job, come back in a year when you've learned a little bit more, when you've got a little bit more experience. I mean, this is a really high level kitchen.
Yeah.
And like, I tasted the food. I still have notes because they gave me like menu notes, and I still have the notes from that night. And like, it was food that today I could do, but like 15 years ago, there's like 10, 15 years ago, there's no way I was ready to do that job. So there wasn't a job for me then. I ended up finding this place right down the street from us called Harvard Gardens. So I worked there as a line cook. I was there for about a year or so. Worked my way up from a cook. There was 2 sous chefs and a chef when I was there. So sous chef's like the number 2. So like when the chef's not there, sous chef's.
I had a number 2 this morning. It was good.
Good for you. It's good to be. You must have had some simmus last night, don't?
Please. Before the matzo kicks in, I'm getting.
Yeah, exactly. You gotta have the simmus. It balances you out.
So you're still in Boston now.
I was a sous chef there. My wife was my girlfriend at the time. We weren't seeing each other ever because like I was working constantly. And then afterwards I hang out with my friends from work. And so she was in school. We didn't see each other very often. So I decided to leave the kitchen around the same time, about a little while later. My wife had got laid off from her job after graduating. So we had no jobs, and we had a 1-bedroom apartment with 2 dogs, $1,800 rent. So we decided to move to Charlotte where my dad lived. And I actually did not find a restaurant I wanted to work in, and ended up working for Publix, which is a grocery store down in the Southeast. I was working, I started doing cooking demos in a grocery store I was working there. I was actually, there was their first store in North Carolina. I was doing these cooking demos. And it's like this thing called Apron Simple Meals. I was doing that. and I stayed with Publix for about 3.5 years. We got married during that time, and my wife kind of noticed that I wasn't really happy, even though my career at Publix was going pretty well. Like at that point, I was running the seafood department, and
I should run a seafood department because seafood, I eat it. That's
yeah. I wasn't very happy. She had said, like, why don't you try going back to food? And so I got a job working at a restaurant here in Charlotte. I left my job. I was doing both. I was doing Publix in the morning and then the restaurant at night. It was this place called Heritage, which they've since moved on to open 2 more restaurants and left Heritage. But this was a fine dining restaurant. So it was like a 36 seat restaurant, very intricate plating, very locally sourced ingredients. It's really the first time I've been exposed to that and kind of fell in love with that idea, and was there for about 8 months before I went to my brother called me and said he was gonna open a restaurant in New Orleans, and that him and his wife and their business partner, they wanted me to come be the chef. So we left. Well, I left. I went to New Orleans, opened a restaurant. That restaurant closed. Before it had closed, I had left that job. My wife was down there.
So you literally left your brother in the lurch? What kind of family person are you?
It was a rough time for all of us, I think.
So much shit. Living in sin with your girlfriend, right? You're making non-kosher, but you're putting butter in pans that have steak on them. You're working in hookahs. Well, the hookahs part is good. That's just good luck. But oh my God, I'm full of shame.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. We were, we had a bagel on the menu in New Orleans though. We named it after that uncle that got me the job in New York. We called it the Uncle Itchy. So
Uncle, we had a bagel. His name was what?
Isidore, but everyone called him Itchy.
Call him Itchy.
Yeah, he was from Brooklyn.
Yeah. There's stories on that from the host of this program, who actually also had an Itchy in the family. This is not. Yeah. His name was probably Yitzchak or Isidore, something like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, we have to. I want to move up the story a little bit. So
anyways, we're in New Orleans. I was there. The restaurant we opened didn't work out. I worked at this place called Coquette, another really super fine dining restaurant. My wife was pregnant at the time with our daughter. We decided we didn't want to live in New Orleans with our kids. We moved back to Charlotte, and I started working for the company that I was the chef of that restaurant previously. I worked at another concept, moved over to that restaurant as the chef.
Right. So, you're 35 years old, you said. It feels like you're
34.
73. You're 34. I mean, from all these jobs, I mean, it almost sounds like you should be like 77 years old at this point. Yeah. It's nuts.
My resume is a mess. My resume is a mess, but honestly, it's like every place I've been, I took something from it. And I was always trying to figure out what it is I really wanted to do. And I mean, that's where we are today. So.
Well, now we finally get to, it's been a half hour. I want to get to the Jewishness. Here we go. So you're in this play. You're in the Concept, no, not Heritage, one of the Concept restaurants. Everything's okay. Are you a sous chef? Are you a line chef, an executive? Which are you there and you're where? I
was the executive chef.
Right. Yeah. In this other restaurant, which you're not naming. It's all right. You have to. So, and this is going back a year and a half now, right?
Yeah, I started there in May of 2019.
19, all right. So you're there. I would have to say
I was there exactly a year. My last day was a year anniversary from my first day.
And they had to let you go because what?
No, they didn't let me go. I chose to leave. So with all the stuff going on in the pandemic, we were about to. So I was there we were doing we were doing takeout only. When time came, we were going to open up for indoor dining. I just didn't feel comfortable from a medical standpoint for me, my family. Like, I just didn't think it was the best idea for us. There's a lot of other reasons.
I didn't realize that.
I was for a short time, but I was brought back. Mommy went upstairs. She'll be right back. Come here. Yeah, she went to
Richard's
get him.
not on camera. We have pedophiles watching, so they would enjoy this. I'm kidding. No, shit, I don't see
She
any.
doesn't want to be on the camera.
All right.
Anyway, so I left in May, due to a myriad of reasons. But I decided to leave. It just wasn't for me anymore. You can read a little bit on my Instagram or our restaurant's Instagram. Get some insight as to part of the reason I left. It had something to do with Passover. Actually, oddly enough. So.
What, were you working for Egyptians?
No. It just, there was something missing in my career, and I didn't figure out what it was. And I had been, when I was home, we were cooking a lot of Jewish food. We were making challah on Friday nights. Like, we were doing this at home with our kids, and I was making pickles also. So I was putting these Instagram videos up on my personal page where I was making half sour and full sour pickles with my kid. And I was having my kid taste them, and it was like, I don't know. I was just connecting to the food.
Pardon me. We have to show.
Yeah, I don't know what you're doing.
Please behold, we have an electronic pickle, which is a very beautiful thing. It's not edible, apparently, which I learned a little too late, which is why it has a tooth mark in it. But it's a very beautiful thing. We're going to play for a moment the yodeling pickle. Okay, so we continue now with Rob Clement. He is, and now we get to the why he's on the show very specifically. Not that he hasn't had a tremendously interesting story to tell, but shut up. All right. So you figure, I need a job. Not me, you need a job. I need a job. And I want to incorporate the Jewish cooking, my heritage cooking, into what I'm doing in my work life. This is what I want to serve. So, what popped into your head? Notice the play on words.
It is. So a friend of mine told me about a brewery that was local brewery that was looking for people to do pop-ups. So just like a one day event of serving food. They were having struggles because of obvious restrictions on capacity and things like that. So I asked them, can I do Jewish food? And they didn't really know what Jewish food was at the time. They didn't know what I meant. And so I said, like a deli, like pastrami and pickles and matzo ball soup. They said, yeah, go for it. We don't care what you do whatever you want. So we did it. I bought a brisket.
What is it?
I bought one brisket, and I did it at my house. I smoked the pastrami. I cooked at my house. I brought it to the place, and we sold the food, and we sold out. And we had 16 sandwiches at that first one. That was September 6th. I think it was 16. Yeah, probably. Yummy. Yeah, that's right. So we had 16 sandwiches and we sold out. And then every time it was my wife and I doing the food, and we towed around our toddlers in the stroller and bring them to the brewery and hide them in the back.
The brewery.
Yeah, we'd hide them in the back so no one breathed on them. And we just sold food, and we kept doing it and trying new things. We did a knish pop-up. We did I was doing chopped liver. I was doing all these just traditional Jewish things. And it got to a point where people started reaching out, asking for us to do the Jewish Student Union at one of the universities wanted us to do something. The Hillel at another university wanted us to do something. The people who had followed kind of my trajectory as a chef in town kind of caught wind of what I was doing, and some media picked up what we were doing, and some bloggers and whatnot. And it just started getting to the point where it was getting too big for what we could handle. We were doing black and white cookies was the only dessert we were doing. And my wife is not a professional baker. She doesn't want to be a professional baker. She's very talented. Whether she is having trouble with those pancakes or not, she's amazingly talented.
That was 40 minutes ago. She's still working on the first batch?
No, they're eating now.
Oh, this is good.
Yeah, so but she didn't want to do it, so we brought on my business partner. So she's a pastry chef, Hannah, and at that point, like, we were kind of busy, but it was kind of the perfect timing. You know, we say Basheret. It was very, like, kind of meant to be. So she was a pastry chef working at all these fine dining places as well, and was never really embracing her heritage either in terms of food. But she posted something on Instagram. So she was doing these pop-ups as well at the same brewery. She did hers the same week that I did my first one, was when she did her first one. And we started following each other on Instagram. And I saw she posted something about her bubby and making babka. And so I just reached out to her. She told me, the other day we were telling her boyfriend about how it happened. And she said, you just reached out on Instagram and said, are you a Jew? And that's all I said. Like, just randomly, like, message her, are you a Jew?
Babka boyfriend. All right.
And she said, yeah, I am. She's like, why? I said, do you want to do a pop-up together? And she said, I'd love to. Like, I've been following what you're doing. Like, I'd love to cook some Jewish stuff.
Yeah.
So she made rugula and babka and some other stuff, but she made some macaroons, and she baked this stuff, and we were doing sandwiches. I was doing like a vegan Reuben and pastrami sandwich, and
hot dog. What do you make vegan Reuben out of?
Celery root. So we turned celery root into meat. So it's a crazy process. We're actually going to do it again on the 17th. We're going to do it.
How close is it? If you put a blindfold,
you wouldn't know. The flavor is similar, but it tastes like a Reuben together, but it's not. You can't eat a piece of the celery root and think it's pastrami. But for people who ate it, who don't eat meat, who used to eat meat, they said this was like, blew their mind. They're like, how did you do this?
Salt and spices? Is that like 80%?
Yeah, I brine it and smoke it. I do all the same things you do with pastrami. I just do it with a vegetable. So
this does not go in there.
Yeah. So there you go. So since then we've formed this partnership. You want it?
Don't sit by.
Yeah, put your earbuds in there. Just like, God, I hate children. Yes.
So we come here. Okay. So we since then we've gotten to the point where we have lines out the door when we do pop-ups. It kind of just caught fire.
Now, are you looking for
what we're doing?
If I were you, I'd look for a bigger house. You're looking for a place to a brick and mortar. Obviously, when the pandemic's over, but you're still doing the pop-up?
No, yeah, we're doing the pop-ups right now. We have a facility we work out of now, a commissary kitchen we work out of, and we're actively looking for a space. We're like in lease negotiations right now with some places. And but we've been doing these events, and we've really been embracing like the Jewish traditions and Jewish holidays. Like for Passover, we fed over 100 people. We did catering. We did like take-home meals, like take-home seders. Everything from, we made gefilte fish, Hannah made matzah. We did it all. Like we're not strictly kosher. Like you said at the beginning, we're kosher style, but like we're trying to be as true to form, but then also put our spin on it. So like when we do knishes, like I do like a pimento cheese knish, because pimento cheese is a big thing down here. So it's like, it's just cheese and peppers with potatoes. Like it makes sense with mashed potatoes. We put it in knish though, and we bake them off, and you'd eat it with some mustard. And then the other cool thing is all of our food is based around seasonality and the local ingredients. So I'd say we're about 80 to 90% local in terms of our ingredients. So like our pastrami is the way it is, and people love our pastrami because we get our beef from a small farm in the mountains here, where they only do a limited number of cows. Like they take care of those cows, and they do all the things in the same way and manner. Like they're not kosher, but I know their process, and I know the process to some extent of kashrut, and I understand that like the principles of the way they do things lines up a lot. And a lot of these farms that we work with, their principles line up with what's in the Torah. And like, So for me, if we can support these local businesses,
Sure.
and then also who operate in a certain manner, then it allows us to keep money in the community, but then also kind of create what Jewish food can be, because like we're in a place where it doesn't really exist.
Have you mapped out? Have you looked on the map of like the closest?
Yeah. So
kosher style deli is.
So it's I could say this and be completely off base. In terms of places that are known in the food world, the only delis I know of are the closest ones. You could go to DC, you could go to Atlanta, or you could go to like Cleveland or Cincinnati, like Ohio, basically. So like there's like this triangle around Charlotte where there's like this pocket of desolate Jewish food done in the traditional manner, done from scratch. I could be wrong, and there could be some amazing place that in some tiny town in some city, and I'm sure there is, and I'd love to hear about it. I'd love to go eat there. But to my knowledge, I was craving this food during the pandemic. That's why we started making it. Like, and it turns out there's a lot of people who were. So,
and of course, if they're living in that area, there's literally, forget the pandemic, they have to go 200 miles to a nearest actual deli. Have you ever eaten? Have you ever been to New York? Have you eaten either or LA, the Cantor's or Carnegie or Katz's?
So I've never spent time in extensive time in LA, but New York, yes. I've been to Katz's. I've been to Carnegie. I've been to all the big boys in terms of Second Avenue Deli. I love Second Avenue Deli. It depends what you're looking for, right? So if you want a bagel,
bagel, you get Dunkin' Donuts, a bagel.
Well, no, come on, no, you didn't bagel at Dunkin' Donuts. You can get a bagel at Dunkin' Donuts, but it's not. I mean, that's not a bagel.
Yeah.
I mean, if you go to New York, like Pick a Bagel is really great. Those are good. But then like this place, Sadel's in New York, like does this really like beautiful interpretation of Jewish food where they're doing like really nice smoked fish, and it's this beautiful restaurant. Like that's a great place. It's I think it's in the Upper East Side, right? Or no, I'm not sure exactly the neighborhood. I'm not like a New Yorker. Second Avenue Deli is awesome. I mean, that's a kosher deli where they're doing meat and, but their pastrami sandwich is money. But then Katz's is great. The one thing, it's crazy. I went to Katz's. Last time we were there, we're actually thinking about going up there this summer. But the last time we were there, we went and they don't sell tongue anymore. And which was crazy. So that's something we're doing also, is like I started making pickled beef tongue, and some people like haven't had it in years that live down here. And so like people were like amazed that but again, like I get the beef from this farm. They were having trouble moving tongues. So I was like, well, I can sell tongues. Like, so it's like a thing. We're trying to make these food traditions that are not very like prominent, make a lot of sense in terms of like sustainability. So like we make our matzo ball soup. I use chicken feet. Like I use a ton of chicken feet to make our soup. And people are like, why is this soup so good? It's because I use chicken feet. Because that's the way that like in the shtetl, they were using chicken feet. They were using the whole chicken. They weren't throwing out feet. Like they used the whole thing. They weren't just.
I love a good beak soup. If I could just get a really good beak soup, that would be.
Yeah.
And I gotta tell you, I'm married all these years to my dear wife Miriam Libby. The only time I get tongue is on my birthday, and let me tell you, it's not in a sandwich. So, ladies,
you get it once a year.
Yeah, we're talking with Rob Clement. I've got to ask one more question before I bring you over to Dave to play the Today Yesterday history game opposite David Sheward, who plays every week. But here's a question. What is the secret? I know you make a vegetarian pastrami, a vegetarian brisket, but what is the secret to brining and making a great hot pastrami sandwich?
The quality of the ingredients. So like the beef, like that's what I was saying is our pastrami. I truly believe our pastrami. So we sell out every time we make it. Reason is because they're limited in how much they use, like how much they produce. So their process. So we use a company called Shipley Beef. It's a farm in Velas, North Carolina. They like their process is not only do they take great care of their cows, but then when they butcher, they have their own processing facility. They process the cows, and then they dry age all their meat. So their meat's actually dry aged before I brine it. So I get dry aged brisket. I brine it for 2 weeks, not 4 days like a lot of people try and do. And then we do a process where we smoke it for 8 hours. And then instead of steaming it in the traditional way, we sous vide it, which is like a modern cooking technique. So by doing that, you seal in all the flavor into this bag, and then you basically just circulate it for 2 days in like a hot water bath. And what happens is all the connective tissue, all the fat breaks down, makes it super unctuous and all that. But you also keep like the bark that you would traditionally have on like a smoked barbecue brisket.
Oh,
so like, you know, the traditional like pastrami, when it's steamed, you lose that bark. So you have the flavor, but you lose the texture. So I think that's like the secret, is trying to marry traditions of American barbecue with Jewish pastrami. Like, and that's what really we've tried to do with our pastrami. So, and then we use really great bread from a local bakery called Verdant Bread that does like artisan bread. They do sourdough. They make like their own rye. That's like a beautiful caraway rye. And then we use a local mustard too. So there's 3 ingredients. They're all very good ingredients, and they all take time and they all take effort, and we're not going to cut any corners, and we're going to end up with a better sandwich. And, you know, to be honest, we keep it at a price that we could probably charge more if we were in a bigger city, but we're not going to, because we want people to be able to buy it. And we'll make money off other things. And that's kind of the way we look at it, is, you know, we created this thing with this pop-up where people understand that we have a limited amount of pastrami, but it's what they come for. So people literally, at our last pop-up, we started selling 1 p.m. and people were lined up out the door at the brewery at 10:30 a.m. waiting. Like, wow. Before, like they're waiting in line for us. Like it's crazy. I mean, we didn't expect this to happen. We definitely didn't expect it to happen so quickly, but now that it has, we're just going to stick with the way we've done things from the start, and we're not going to change.
Actually,
how we operate.
I foresee the place that it's called Pastrami and Poker. So you're coming for a beer.
Poker's done.
And then they go into a back room, and then that's where you're making money.
I'm out.
A pastrami sandwich, but
no poker for me. I don't want to do any more poker.
Well, look, I can't keep a poker face when you're talking about Jewish food. I'm just like, But alas, I can't stay. The host of this program, the producer of this program, Dave, he takes over the show again now, alas. Sure. Because he has to do more of the program. But you're staying, Rob Clement. You are to stay and play the history game, the Today, Yesterday quiz with Dave and also our friend David Sheward. So let me first of all thank you so much for being with us on the program on this Shabbos, and wish you so much delicious food and so much luck in what you're doing. I'm going to... But people, you don't go away. We'll play a little music, and Dave will be back. Happy Pesach to all of you, and Shalom. Why the hell isn't it playing? Why isn't it playing, goddammit? Oh, here it is. There we go. Okay. Well, everybody, welcome back to the show, or if you're just joining us, I'm Dave Lefkowitz. I'm the producer and host of the Dave's Gone By Facebookio, Podcastio, Programmio video show of the stream, and we are here with our special guest of the program, Rob Clement of the pop-up restaurant and pretty soon to be brick-and-mortar restaurant, which is called Meshuggah, out in Charlottesville, North Carolina. And by the way, it's spelled just like we have
Charlotte.
Just
Charlotte.
Just Charlotte. Charlottesville. I saw that word.
Charlottesville's in Virginia.
Oops. Ooh. Charlotte, North Carolina. Charlotte for Meshuggah with an H. Oh, I'm sorry, with an A there. Usually it's spelled with an E, just letting you know that. But you spell it Meshuggah. That usually also an E. But, well, whatever. It's your restaurant. It's your food. It sounds incredible. Actually, the one question I wanted Rabbi Sol to ask is, like we were talking, or he was talking with you about Katz's. They have that send a salami to your boy in the army, and they ship all over the world.
Yeah.
Do you have auspices to do that? Like if somebody in another state wanted one of your sandwiches, they could.
So we're working on trying to figure out shipping of some of our products. Like I was saying to Rabbi Sol, we because of the nature of our beef being a limited quantity that we can access because we used a small farm for our pastrami, I don't envision us selling it. We also want people to come to Charlotte. So, our goal is to have the best pastrami in the country. So if we can do that and people start making Charlotte a destination for Jewish food, I think that's a good thing for Jewish culture and food in the South. And that's really what we're all about. And the reason we spell Meshuggah that way is because that's the website domain name I can find. So
Does Meshuggah.com?
Yeah, it's just Meshuggah.com.
Meshuggah.com.
It's funny hearing people down here try to pronounce it. It's hilarious.
I wouldn't even. They probably
it's also
yeah.
People started to recognize me because like there's pictures of like from articles and they're like, "Are you Meshuggah?" And I'm like, "Yeah."
Wow. And then they say, "Okay, let's lynch the Jew." But no, I'm kidding. Oh, by the way, we'll get by our other guest, and he's sitting there very patiently, is David Sheward, who is with us every week to play the Today Yesterday game. David Sheward is
almost undefeated champion.
Almost undefeated champion, a writer and blogger, theater critic, former head of the Drama Desk. And so, David, how are you this week?
Okay, how are you?
Yeah, good. We're doing it. David, do you like deli food, Jewish food, that kind of stuff?
Sure.
What is your favorite Jew dish? Because David is not Jewish. He has a Jewish-sounding name, but he's totally not.
My favorite Jew dish?
Yeah.
Let me think. Well, I like the latkes.
Ah.
I like those. You know what those look like? You know that commercial for the dander and the allergens? You have these little puppets in part of the clothes, like on your shoulder.
Yeah.
These little cute little monster things.
Well, there they are. Well, yeah, but these are little latkes. I was very upset about seeing that, but
commercial for detergent,
So latkes are good.
Yeah, latkes, I guess, and I like simmus, and
Well, I don't want to make a big simus out of this, but you guys are both here, Rob Clement and David Sheward, to play the Today Yesterday game. And David, I don't know if you got her message, but in this particular case, Leslie Hovan Blake, who usually joins us, will not only not be late, but she won't be with us.
Yes, I saw.
She's not playing
her text.
So it's going to be a one-on-one, ladies and gentlemen, and it's a trivia game called Today Yesterday. Here's the rules. They're pretty. Yeah. Here's the deal. We ask questions. There's 9 questions that we do. Oh, it's been so long since we've played with only 2 people. I think the rules are just a little bit different. Well, we'll figure it out on the way. I think we'll do all 10 questions instead of a tiebreaker, and then whoever wins, wins. Each trivia question is worth 2 points if you get it right. If you get it wrong, there's no penalty. However, the other person gets the chance to answer the question instead and get those 2 points. All right? And we decide who goes first with instead of rolling the die, if it's cool with you, we'll ask our guest, Rob Clement. Would you prefer to go first or second?
If you're not first, you're last. So let's go first.
Whoa, okay. So
first to pick the die number.
We can.
Let David go. Let David go first. I don't know.
Oh no! That I thought we were choosing. We picked
usually with 2 people and a brand new guest. Yeah,
fine.
It's not like if one of you gets it wrong, the die thing is almost moot.
Oh, you're right. It's
the other person gets to the whole thing. So,
all right. So go ahead.
So we have Rob going first, David Sheward going second. And that was basically, the rules are much simpler with only 2 people. Here we go. Rob, are you ready? And thank you for joining us, by the way. Or Rabbi Sol will call you Ben Zion, but we'll stick with Rob. The year was 1790. and I think you had your first job in a restaurant at that point, considering your resume. Patented today by English inventor Harvey Kennedy is the modern shoelace. What made it modern was a tip on the end, then made of metal, that stopped fraying and made the laces easier to tie. What is the word we give to this shoelace finisher?
Oh, wow. Yeah, I don't have an answer for that. That's outside of my scope.
I don't use scope. I just brush my teeth. But you want
Listerine.
You can, since there's no penalty for guessing. I'll read the question again. It's 1790 was patented today by inventor Harvey Kennedy, the modern shoelace. What made it modern was a tip on the end. It was made of metal at the time. It made laces easier to tie and also stopped them from fraying. We have a name for this shoelace finisher. What is it called?
Shoelace tip.
Is that your final answer?
Yeah. Yeah, I got nothing here. Yes.
Not incorrect, but it's not the word we're looking for. It is essentially a shoelace tip, but we do have a very particular word for it. David Sheward,
Yes.
You get to steal if you know the answer to this question.
Okay, what's interesting is there was an episode of the Mary Tyler Moore Show where Sue Ann Nivens came to Mary's apartment with her date, who was this really pathetic guy, and she wanted to convince Mary to fix her up with Lou Grant because she was dating these awful schlubs. And she said, "Tell Mary what you do for a living." "Oh, I make those things at the end of shoelaces."
Wow.
And Mary says, "What are those called?" And the guy said, "I don't know." And Sue Ann says, "See how desperate I am? I'm going out with a guy who makes things that doesn't even have a name. But I believe that they are called eyelets."
Oh, that's the part that they
Is that your final answer?
Yes, yes.
Oh,
My wife says that's what they go through.
Oh,
oh. In a manner of speaking, I don't know. I have to consult with the judges on this,
What is it?
and Joshua as well, and Ruth. The word is not eyelet; it's an aglet.
oh, okay.
It's from the Latin word acucula and French from aiguillette for pin.
Okay.
I'm afraid I can't. I think you had a whole different word in mind, like eyeball.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, of course, obviously.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I thought
I'm no
the
doctor.
application thing. I cannot give you that points for that. Damn.
I'm no Dr. Sue, you know.
He's not gonna. That's an in joke, Rob.
I don't beg for points.
I'm gonna have to start watching.
But I thought it would add a little something with the Mary Tyler Moore Show reference.
No, this is one of the beautiful things about this quiz, because we ask only 10 questions, and yet it still takes like 45 minutes to get through them, because they're working through the logic of how to answer these stories. Most of David's knowledge comes from miniseries, TV shows, and movies of world history. It's fantastic.
The stall.
Yeah. Well, here's the deal. David, now you do get to try and get 2 points on the board, because the next question goes to David Sheward.
All right.
The year was 1912.
1912. Okay.
Mayor Yukio Ozaki was visiting Washington, D.C., and brought with him 3,000 sakura as a gift of friendship between the two nations. The gift is still commemorated to this day. What did he bring?
Cherry trees.
That was quick. Is that your final answer?
Yes.
I will give you all the points in the world for that. Well done, David Sheward. It was cherry blossom trees.
Oh, okay.
Washington holds an annual National Cherry Blossom Festival in early spring. What gave it away? Was it Sakura or what? You just...
Well, it was a Japanese name, and both of the mayor and of the word. And I know that they have cherry blossoms in Washington every year. And I think it was from a gift from the Japanese.
Yes. Yes, and more. Yes, you've gotten all your Pacific overtures well timed. That was terrible. I should know in terms of scoring, you've broken our cherry. So well done, David Short. It's 2-0 in the. I don't know.
Oh, Mr. Peabody.
Thank you. Thank you. This next question goes to our guest, Rob Clement, the owner of Meshuggah Pop-Up Deli, soon to be a deli. Here we go. Are you ready, Rob?
Yep.
For 2 points. The question, it's again, all these things happened on today. So it's on March 27th. On March 27th, 1941, issued today by Adolf Hitler, you've heard of him, is his 25th directive. A strafing attack on this country, which was easily conquered in April, after which the rebel army of Chetniks became as much collaborators as resistors. Name that country.
1941.
And you are allowed to ask your children for help on this question.
Yeah, this one's outside of their scope, I think. Let's say, oh goodness, Chechnya.
Oh, so the country of Chechnya, is that your final answer?
Yes.
Well, there's no pun I can make in terms of no. There's no pun. I'm afraid that is not the correct answer.
I told you I'm a college dropout.
Well, I wouldn't know it.
Many times.
Like I know these off the top of my head either, Rob. So I'll read the question again. David Short, you get to steal.
Okay.
The year was 1941, issued by your friend and mine, Adolf Hitler, is his 25th directive, a strafing attack on this country, which was easily conquered the next month, after which the rebel army of Chetniks became as much collaborators as resistors. Name that country.
Yugoslavia?
Are you asking or telling? Is that your final answer?
My tone is questioning, but that will be my answer.
Well, I'll go my way, and David, you go your way. That is the correct answer. Yugoslavia is what? How did you? You've heard?
Well,
you know.
I know that Chechnya it got broken up at one point, and I'm thinking. Then I thought of Serbo-Croatia, and I'm thinking that at that time it was part of that's part of it was part of Yugoslavia. That Yugoslavia later got broken up, and that's where the whole Chechnyan thing happened.
Yeah.
And the whole thing with the
Well,
in the 90s, the Serbs and everything. Yeah, and
I'm
Zagreb.
tempted to break up those points because if Chechnya is part of a former Yugoslavia, that's kind of a correct answer. Is it? Because now you know more about this than I do, David. Is that a reason? Was his answer kind of correct?
No.
No, it's not. Okay, so it's Yugoslavia.
No.
Totally
Chechnya
wrong.
didn't exist yet.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, I'm saying, if you say Myanmar and the answer was Burma, I would give it. So that's kind of fair-ish. But okay, David, you are leading 4-0.
Okay.
And my wife wants to point out, Rob, understand that a lot of times when we have guests playing this game for the first time, they get a big old goose egg. It's not an easy game, as you.
Well, I'm not going to get a goose egg. I promise. That's not
Oh,
a matter of time.
confidence. Here we
Get
go.
something.
But the thing is, David now gets the next question. So you can
Alright.
build on your lead. Here we go. The year 1943. Okay, debuting tonight on CBS Radio and sponsored by Pabst is this comedy variety show, Blue Ribbon Town, filled with music and bad puns. The show lasted a season, and it's a multiple choice, was hosted by who? Was it A, Jack Benny, B, Groucho Marx, C, Red Skelton, D, George Burns?
Okay. 1943.
Mm-hmm.
All right, it definitely was not Jack Benny because he had a show on radio for like decades, and Pabst was not one of his sponsors. It was Lucky Strike or Jello, and there were a few others, but it wasn't Pabst. So it's either Red Skelton, George Burns, or who was the other one?
Or Groucho Marx.
Or Groucho Marx. Huh. Bad puns. Well, Groucho did not. Well, I don't think Groucho ever gave a bad pun. Red Skelton, and I don't think it was George Burns because he had a show with his wife, the Burns and Allen show, and I think their sponsor was a coffee. They not Maxwell House, but a coffee, I think. So I'm going to say Red Skelton.
Is that your final answer?
Yes. Yes.
Well, David Sheward, I happen to know that you're very well read, but in this case, you're incorrect.
No. Okay.
Even your red shirt, that is not the correct answer. So, Rob Clement, you get to steal this question. I'll read it again. 1943 was the year, March 27th, the date. Debuting tonight on CBS Radio and sponsored by Pabst is the comedy variety show Blue Ribbon Town, filled with music and bad puns. The show lasted a season and was hosted by, multiple choice, was it A, Jack Benny, B, Groucho Marx, or D, George Burns?
I'm going to go with George Burns.
Is that your final answer?
Yes.
Oh, Rob, as a restaurant chef, you of all people should know to avoid Burns. That is not the correct answer. David, you overthought it. Because, I've never heard the show. I don't know.
Groucho?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if the puns were bad puns or good. They were just called bad puns or puns. He wasn't really writing the material. He did it for about a season. It was Groucho Marx. And then went on, and a couple of years later, he obviously found You Bet Your Life and found great success in radio and television. But no, it was Groucho. So that's a no pointer to either of you as we move on to the next round of our Today, Yesterday quiz. I should remind people you're watching Dave's Gone By with me, Dave Lefkowitz, my wonderful wife, Joyce, our panelists on the Today, Yesterday quiz, restaurateur and deli man, Rob Clement of Meshuggah, the pop-up deli in Charlotte, North Carolina. And is it meshuggah.com is the place I can go. And David Sheward, I didn't even get to say that you write for theaterlife.com, culturalweekly.com, and your blog at The David Desk. So you got to look for all those as well. And I'll remind people when we're done with the quiz, but we're not done yet. We got more questions for you. This question goes to Rob. And Rob, you're only down 4 points. You really are. It's pretty close still. The year 1950. Though a venue for classical music, the Cleveland Music Hall broke new ground by offering a solo concert by this Pittsburgh-born, self-taught pianist and author of the song Misty. Name him.
Golly. You don't got any food questions? Or sports?
No.
So the only two things I really know a lot about is food.
He
and
liked
sports.
to eat food. That's a
And
hint.
sports. He liked to eat food. He liked to eat food.
Well, that's not really a hint. That's just, I don't want to throw you off the
Yeah. No. Goodness gracious. How embarrassing.
You can ask David, if it's okay with you. You can always ask your husband. So Rob, if you want to ask your wife,
But you can't Google.
no googling, no
Okay.
twittering, none of that.
You said so. He played at the Cleveland. Say what was the name of the
Yeah, I'll
facility?
read the question again,
Yeah.
and I'll even throw in a little hint for both of you because I can also see sort of David not really. I will throw in a little extra hint on this. 1950 was the year. Though a venue for classical music, the Cleveland Music Hall broke new ground by offering a jazzy solo by this Pittsburgh-born, self-taught pianist and author of the song Misty? Name him.
Is it Fats Domino?
Is that your final answer?
Yeah, I guess so.
Actually, for your restaurant, it would be Schmaltz Domino, wouldn't it? But alas, no, that is not. It was not Antoine Fats Domino. It was not. So, David Sheward,
Yeah.
you can try and steal this question. Can you name this person who played?
What was the didn't you say you were going to give an extra hint?
It was in, I threw an extra hint in there. I'll read it one more time.
All right.
1950, though a venue for classical music, the Cleveland Music Hall broke new ground by offering a jazzy solo concert by this Pittsburgh-born, self-taught pianist and author of the song Misty. Name him.
All right, let me see. Look at me. I'm as helpless as a kitten up a tree. I don't know who wrote Misty. I'm going to have to guess. Never know. It's not George Gershwin because he was dead by then.
Could have been if they wired him up, but no.
Yeah. Weekend at Bernie's. Let me think. Misty. Who wrote Misty? Shoot. Maybe it's George Shearing, but I don't think so. Was a jazz pianist. But I think he was not quite that old. Misty. Mel Torme. I'm gonna guess Mel Torme.
Final answer?
Yeah.
Well, I'm afraid both of you guys have pianist envy. Neither was the correct answer. It was not Fats Domino, nor was it Mel Torme, who, by the way, I don't know if you guys knew, he was Jewish. Just
okay.
Go figure. But no, the answer is the great jazz pianist Errol Garner.
Oh, okay.
The Concert by the Sea and wrote that song. Okay.
I would not have known that. Okay.
All right. And I did the one thing I threw in jazzy there, which I thought would help
okay.
more clear. But anyway, okay, we still have a 4-0 game. Told you that this was, these questions can be tough, especially when they're not multiple choice. I should have done more multiples this week. But here we go. 19. Now this is interesting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, this goes to David.
Okay.
All right. Here we go. Right up your alley.
All right.
The year was 1955. David, winning the Best Play Tony Award tonight.
Right.
This thriller by Joseph Hayes, adapted from his novel, and soon to be adapted into a major motion picture, though with a different and older lead actor. Name that play.
The Desperate Hours.
Is that your final answer?
Yes.
David, you're taking longer and longer to respond.
We're so glad you're all ours, Dave. Ours indeed it was. It was the play The Desperate Hours. And I guess you know who played,
I believe Paul Newman did it on stage, but Humphrey Bogart did the movie.
Yes. David Sheward, 2 more points. Good Lord. Would you have known that, Rob? Would you have even had any clue? No.
And it was directed by, I believe, Robert Montgomery, who was Elizabeth Montgomery's father.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, it was a bewitching movie right there.
Well, he directed the play. I don't know if he directed the movie.
We were just talking about, did you realize that Bewitched had a dachshund?
We like dachshunds.
We were just thinking about that. Joyce saw a picture of the cast and holding a dachshund.
One of the Darrens.
Yeah, one of the Darrens.
It must have been in just one episode.
I don't recall that at all. Anyway, it's a 6-point lead that David Stewart has over Rob. But Rob, don't despair, okay? Even though we just did the Desperate Hours. You still have time to do some catching up, even though you don't like catch up. So here we go.
Oh, just when the plot was, it was this bunch of gangsters holding up a nice suburban family in their house. And on the play, it was Paul Newman was the desperate killer. And in the movie, it was Humphrey Bogart.
By the way, Joyce just showed on Facebook. Did you know that today is World Theater Day? I didn't know. So, yay!
Nice.
Now we have a theater question. Now, this next question goes to Rob.
Started in 1961.
Really? World Theater Day was started in 1961. I didn't realize it was that old. It was like, my God, it's 50 years old already. Congratulations. Happy birthday day to you. Here we go. The year 1956. Rob, this question is for you. March 27th, 1956. Shirley MacLaine, Glynis Johns, and an unknown
Chocolate.
Marion Ross are the last living stars of this epic film, which tonight won the Oscar for Best Picture. Dave,
You broke up a little bit at the
I'm
beginning.
sorry. Yeah, I got so teary-eyed. I was crying. 1956 was the year. Okay. Shirley MacLaine, Glynis Johns, and an unknown Marion Ross are the last living stars of this epic film, which tonight won the Oscar for Best Picture. Can you name it?
Shirley MacLaine, 1956. Golly. I know that if I don't get this, David's got it.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's
You know,
very.
it's already-
This is this is the tipping point. Well, Shirley MacLaine. And you said it was an epic.
Yeah.
Goodness, what is? Golly, I'll be honest. Like, I spend so much time in kitchens and watching sports that these things are just not in the forefront of my brain.
Of course. Yeah, we don't do sports questions on here because, look at us. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, the longest movie I could think of from that time period is, I know Shirley MacLaine's not in it. That's the problem. Like, I think I say that and I could be wrong. It's not. Golly. Shirley MacLaine isn't. No, I don't think. My wife said she said the 10 Commandments, but
Yeah, she played Moses.
yeah, no, I know she said that movie. She's asked, let's say, I know it's wrong, but
Throw it out there.
Gone with the Wind. It's not 1956 either. I know it's not. It's like, I feel like that's like 53. I could be wrong. Go ahead. Yeah, Gone with the Wind. It's wrong.
Gone with the Wind? Yeah. Yeah. I'm afraid with that wind comment, you blew it. That is not the correct answer, Rob. So, David Sheward.
Yes.
Can you tell us on March 27, 1956, Oscar tonight for Best Picture, the film among the stars were Shirley MacLaine, Glynis Johns, and an unknown Marion Ross. They are the last living stars of this epic film. Can you name it?
Around the World, I Search for You. It is Around the World in 80 Days, which I believe was MacLaine's second picture.
Is that your final answer?
Glynis Johns had a little tiny cameo, and I don't know what Marion Ross.
She was nothing. She was nobody. I mean, this is long before Happy Days.
Okay.
By the way, you're right. It was Around the World in 80 Days. I don't know what hint I could have put in there without giving the whole game away, though, of like,
It wouldn't have done anything for me, I promise.
All right.
Never seen it.
It was like her second. It's a very good movie. It's a fun movie.
I've read the book, but I've never seen the movie.
Yeah, she would not be cast in that role today, being a white girl. She played an Indian princess.
Oh, gosh. And when we hear about that and that she played an Indian princess, all we can ask is how. Get how this little.
Not even a Native Indian princess. She was an East Indian princess.
She was like South, like
South
like from India.
Oh my goodness, huh? I guess they were having a red dot special.
Oh boy! Oh boy!
That's so racist. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. The next question actually goes directly to David Sheward, who is leading in the game 8 points. Here we go.
Okay.
Let's see how you are on music. The year 1970.
Glynis Johns co-starred with in that Around the World in 80 Days, Hermione Gingold, who later played her mother in Cool night music.
Oh, Rob, you knew that, right?
Yeah, that I did know.
Oh. Here we go. The next question goes to David Short. 1970 was the year.
All right.
Songs that you'll know: Stardust, Bye Bye Blackbird, Night and Day, and the title track Sentimental Journey are all songs on this album released not by Tony Bennett or Frank Sinatra, but by this rock star. Who?
Oh, wow. Well, I know Willie Nelson did, but much later. So it's not Willie Nelson. He's a country star, not a rock star. Either Mick, it sounds like it would be somebody like Mick Jagger or David Bowie, a rock star. Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Hey there.
So
It's Oscar.
a rock star. Let's see.
He's going to be soup later.
I'm going to say,
Cute.
what do you want?
There's a child. Is there a banana?
Just a minute. I'm being on camera for a second because I'm answering a question. My partner needs to get something.
Oh, of course. Oh, hello, partner.
So this is my partner, Jerry,
Hey, Jerry.
Jerry.
Hi.
whose
Wait,
last name is
your
Katz.
husband. He's not your partner. He's your
My
husband.
husband. My husband.
Hey, Jerry.
Yeah, he still hasn't gotten used to saying that.
It just feels weird to say husband. Jerry, and his last name is Katz, K-A-T-Z.
Are you related to the deli guys?
Absolutely not.
No.
Mickey Katz, maybe?
It's actually nice to see he's dressed today.
So wait a minute. Are you married to a Jew?
Yes.
Yes!
Mazel tov.
Not an observant Jew.
That's all right.
Let me see.
He wants an intelligent,
Yeah, an intelligent
fairly
person.
successful partner.
Let's see.
I'll read the question again while you're thinking over. The year was 1970. Stardust, Bye Bye Blackbird, Night and Day, and the title track Sentimental Journey are all songs on this album released not by Tony Bennett or Frank Sinatra, but by this rock star who?
Oh, maybe it's Elvis Presley. That hadn't occurred to me. I'll say Elvis Presley.
Is that your final answer?
Yes.
Well, usually hips don't lie, but in this case they do. I'm afraid, David Short, that is not the correct answer. So, Rob Clement, you can get on the board. If you can answer this question, musical trivia question of...
What was the name of
Okay,
the three songs again? You don't need to do the whole spiel.
Thanks.
Three
You're
songs.
bored by my spiel. Here we go. The year was 1970. Okay. Stardust, Bye Bye Blackbird, Night and Day. The title track, Sentimental Journey, are all songs by this album released March 27th, 1970 by this rock star. Who?
Who do you think it is? Rock star in the 70s. Huh. Mick Jagger was probably around. Bye bye. And Paul McCartney.
Is that your final answer?
I know it's wrong, but sure, yeah.
Oh, Rob, you were literally inches away from the right answer.
Oh, was it Ringo Starr?
Ringo.
It was Ringo.
Oh,
His first album as a solo artist. It was called Sentimental Journey, and it was
wow.
filled with mostly standards.
At
Of,
least a half a point right there.
oh well. Now the next question, amazingly enough, now this is a multiple choice question, Rob. So don't panic. So you have a 25% chance of getting this, even though it is a theater related question. Here we go. However, I don't think either this, you'll both be guessing on this one. So you have a shot. Here we go. The year was 1980. Opening tonight at the Biltmore Theater is Reggae, a Musical Revelation, a Broadway musical celebrating Jamaica.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
The show has several composers, which may be why it flopped in about 3 weeks. Speaking of songs, all of these songs were in the show except which?
Oh, it's
A.
one of those questions.
It's one of those questions. Here we go. A. Zion Boogie. B. Rasta Roll Call. C. Banana, Banana, Banana. Or D. Mash Ethiopia. Well, Rob, I thought you'd know this one.
How about popcorn, popcorn, popcorn?
Popcorn.
What were the names of the songs?
Oh, I'll
again?
read this again. I will read this again. 1980, opening at the Biltmore Theater on Broadway, Reggae, a musical revelation. The show has all sorts of songs by all sorts of composers. It was a flop. One of these songs is not like the others. All these songs are real and were in the show, except this one. What is that, Dave? It's a bird.
It's like a jar in the shape of a bird.
Okay. Oh, for the kid. That's right. I forgot. He's holding a child up there. There you go. Oh, child. All right. So the clues are the possible answers are A. Zion Boogie, B. Rasta Roll Call, C. Banana Banana Banana, or D. Mash Ethiopia.
So I don't believe that Mash Ethiopia has anything to do with reggae. I could be wrong on that. Like the country of Ethiopia and Jamaica, to my knowledge, and this could be very off base, but Ethiopia, there's not a lot of Ethiopians in Jamaica, to my understanding. I could be wrong again. I don't think you purposely had the word Zion in an answer for my Hebrew name. I don't think that was intentional because you just learned it. So
Catching on to the game.
Yeah.
But there's been a lot of Basheret things happening. So I'm gonna go ahead and say A, because I feel like I'm supposed to answer that one because it's my Hebrew name is inside of that name. So A, Zion, whatever it was, Zion.
A is Zion Boogie.
Zion Boogie. It sounds like the most obvious answer to be in it. So let's just say that's the one that's not in it. Zion Boogie. A is my final answer.
Well, Ben Zion, you can boogie down the block because you got that right. You got 2 points on the board. Yes! Yes! Nothing away from you, David Sheward, but I like when the guests, get points and get on the board. I think that's...
Of course.
Yes, Zion Boogie was not a song. Banana, Banana, Banana was, as was Mash Ethiopia. There is no cast album. I have checked.
I'm trying to imagine how that song went.
And
Ethiopia. We're in.
the weirdest part? I designed this question about early in the week. And unless I'm mistaken, I didn't write this down. I think the writer of the book and one of the contributors was Melvin Van Peebles, whom you haven't heard about in years. And just this week, they're saying they're going to revive Ain't Gonna Die a Natural Death on Broadway next year. So
that should be interesting.
Yeah, he is so underrated. He is so,
There's a scene from it. They were on the Tony Awards because they were nominated for Best Tony.
Yeah. So
the original cast is on YouTube.
But I used to call up. I used to call when Michael Riedel and Ezra Peterson used to host a show on Columbia WKCR radio, and I would call up sort of in fun, but also because I really liked it, and I would force them, when they would take requests. And have them play Apple Stretching Morning by Melvin Van Peebles, which is like 7 minutes long. And it's like, oh, God, I'm not going to play that again. But sometimes they would, because it's actually great. But, I used to torture them with that. Anywho, Rob is on the board with 2 points.
Hey.
Now, Rob, you're not going to win the game last because it's 8-2. And David does get the last question, but just in fun. David Sheward,
Yes.
the last question. Here we go. The year was 1978. Debuting on BBC Two, a week after its American debut, was the mockumentary All You Need Is Cash, featuring the travails of what airsats
What airsats what?
pop group?
I think it's the Ruddles. They were a parody of the Beatles. I think it's the Ruddles.
Is that your final answer?
Yes.
Well, David Sheward, you will never get into a rut on this show. That is, of course, the correct answer, conceived by Eric Idle and featuring George Harrison actually in a cameo, and some of the other Pythons, and I think one or two of the other Beatles. It was the Ruttles, and All You Need Is Cat was the mock documentary that they did long before Christopher Getz was doing the movies that he was doing.
Mm-hmm.
So we have our final tally for this week's Yesterday quiz. The winner and still champion is David Sheward. Congratulations, David. You got 10 points. But, again, you should feel really, really proud, Rob, for getting on the board with 2 points. You've seen how this game goes. And considering the distractions that you have of pancakes and children, not to mention, are you marinating a brisket as we speak?
No, we cooked all our food yesterday. So
That's right. It's Passover.
Yeah, so we're good to go. I don't have to do any cooking today. I just got to go by the kitchen and pick up our food and bring it back.
What do you make? What food are you making for your Seder tonight? For what?
So we did brisket. So what we'll be having is we're gonna have brisket. We're gonna have simmis. We're gonna have potato kugel. We'll have some roset. We'll have some chopped liver.
It's good too.
We're gonna have. So my partner, pastry chef Hannah, made this amazing apple cake. It's like a haroset cake, she calls it. So it's like made with basically the ingredients of haroset in a cake, and then it's topped with.
That sounds unbelievable.
It's crazy, and it's cooked. So and then we'll have our matzo with some whipped schmaltz, and we'll call it a day. Keep it simple. We're doing a matzo pizza pop-up on Easter Sunday, actually. So we're doing matzo pizza and matzo brie pop.
Yes, matzo brie. I forgot about that. Yes. Oh my goodness.
My favorite.
I have never really thought about visiting Charlotte, North Carolina before, but I want to now. I really.
As they said on Saturday Night Live a few weeks ago, we're the gateway to Gastonia. And so Charlotte's a really great city, and it's you should come. And when we open the restaurant, you come down, we'll get you a sandwich. We say, when people say, "What's the name?" I say Meshuggah. They're like, "Huh?" And I say, "It's a mouthful." It's
yeah. Well, you would be, if you live in Charlotte, you would be crazy not to go to the pop-up restaurant and soon to be, in-person actual restaurant of Meshuggah. Look at them online. It's meshuggah.com. 2 G's and 2 A's on the end, specifically so they could get that website. Meshuggah.com. Oh, what?
The best way to follow us is on Instagram or Facebook. We post all our events, tons of food photos. We do some Jewish history and culture stuff through our Instagram. So we're trying to do some education on why this food exists and why it's important to us. So please give us a follow.
Yes, absolutely. And they're on Facebook too. You can find Rob Clement and the rest of them on Facebook. Yeah. Congratulations, and let me also thank David Sheward. Let me remind everybody you can read what are 1 or 2 recent things that you've written, either theater reviews or pieces for your David-esque blog.
Well, I did do a blog on Saturday morning superhero cartoons because I've been watching too many of them during the pandemic.
Right.
And I just purchased a whole bunch of DVDs of Superman and Batman cartoons from the 70s.
Rob, yeah.
Did you ever have you ever watched it's not from the 70s, but the old X-Men cartoons?
Not too often, but I did like Spider-Man and His Amazing Friend from the 80s.
And another one, it's a newer one, but that Into the Spider-Verse.
Oh, the movie,
is a very good movie. It's probably one of the better.
I've heard about it. Yeah.
See, if you would have asked about comic book movies, I would have been nailing stuff. I'm a comic book nerd, so.
Yeah, I was trying to find some Spider-Man questions, but I couldn't find them on the web.
Yeah, March isn't a good month for Spider-Man. A lot of spring cleaning going on.
Oh, oh,
Yeah,
David,
so
got
I might
something.
be reviewing these.
Oh, that's
On
awesome.
the David Desk, right?
Yes.
Yeah. That's his blog, which you can find, as well as culturalweekly.com and theaterlife.com for reviews of virtual theater offerings that you've been.
Well,
Yeah.
I actually was at a live play last night.
Oh, was it the Daryl Roth one, or the blindness, or which?
The Voyeur, the walking tour one, with only 8 people at a time.
And how was it? Or you can't say.
It was interesting. It was interesting. It's about Toulouse-Lautrec, and that you go to different locations and they do little scenes.
They've been doing that one for months. That has actually been open throughout like the whole pandemic.
Yeah. Well, they invited some press to it, so I went. And I'm seeing blindness at the Daryl Roth next Sunday on Easter.
So how did you feel attending theater again?
Well, it was outdoors, so it wasn't quite the same thing as but it was kind of strange. It was very strange because we were on the street. They did these little vignettes. People were walking around. It was a very busy Saturday night in the village, and it was not quite the same thing as going into a theater and sitting down and watching a whole play.
Sure.
But
But
it was,
again, things like The Ride have been preparing critics and theater people for that kind of performance stuff anyway. So it's not completely 100% new,
Right.
but all right, okay.
and I'm planning to see an actual movie in an actual theater sometime this week.
What movie?
Uh,
Yeah.
I want to see. Well, there are a couple of choices: either Judas and the Black Messiah, or The Father with Anthony Hopkins, because I saw the play, or I did see Nomadland on television streaming, but I'd like to see it in a theater.
Wow.
Who's your pick for Best Picture?
I think Nomadland is going to get Best Picture. Because of I think it's got the it's very beautifully photographed. She may be the second woman to win Best Director, Rosalind Chow. And I think I because it's kind of it's not too radical. It's kind of safe, and it's kind of but it's also very real.
Okay.
It's interesting. All the nominees for Best Picture are very intimate and, not the usual run-of-the-mill kind of films.
I hope Steven Yeun wins Best Actor.
Oh, I like that too. I don't know who's going to win Best Actor. That's a real tough one.
Cool. Well, we will find out. And I hope you have a fine time going to the various kinds of theaters, David Short, kind of being now that you've had both your shots, being the testing ground for the rest of us, being like, okay, we can do this now. It's being done safely, and I've got my shots. So enjoy and feel. And by the way, I didn't really realize you were married to a Jewy kind of a person. So are you doing any Passover-y? Or does he have family? Or is there any?
Not this year, but we most Passovers we do celebrate Seder. We are going to a friend's house tomorrow. I should amend myself. We are going to a friend's house. Very intimate gathering, only like 5, I think, people.
Cool. All right. I'm just curious. So,
That's Cuomo approved.
so please wish your husband a very happy Passover. Happy Easter to you, but I think that's next Sunday, right?
Yes, that's next Sunday.
I can't follow the non-Jewish things, but I'm glad that you're doing great, David Short. I'm so glad. And Rob Clement is doing great with his what's the name of the toddler thing there that's with you? It's a baby thing, yes. Your name,
baby?
the baby thing, yes.
What's
The baby thing.
Yes, that you are holding in your hand.
Oh, this guy?
Yes.
This is Oscar.
Oscar. Named after the Odd Couple, or why? Or is it a family?
Shlomo.
Your family?
It was just we liked the name. I don't know. We picked it and it fits. He's definitely Oscar.
He's
right?
an Oscar.
He's
Well, happy
Oscar.
holidays, happy Passover, Oscar. Happy Passover to your wife and her pancakes that I hope are done.
Here, I'll show you something funny. Watch this. I know Purim's gone, but watch this. Hey, Oscar. Heyman. Oh, he's not doing it.
Oh, he's
My
not.
daughter yelled it from the other room. She said, boo.
Boo, I thought I was going to vomit on the screen or something. No. Well done.
He's so cute.
Here, hey, you. I can do it. You ready? Let me try. Oscar. Heyman.
Oh.
Come on. Heyman.
Oh.
All right, well, anyway.
Very cute.
All right, on that note, thank you guys, both of you, for being so
Thanks for
delightful.
having us.
Oh,
Thank
and
you.
Bob, congratulations with Meshuggah, the deli, meshuggah.com, where people can go find out about it. Your Facebook, your Instagram as well. Best of luck with that. I hope to get to Charlotte sometime in within a year or two and to eat repeatedly and most, that's not the word, but prodigiously at Meshuggah the restaurant. And David Shore, I look forward to reading your stuff and seeing you next week playing the Today Yesterday game on Dave's
Thank you.
Live. Have a great
Right.
weekend.
Bye.
Thank you, guys.
Congratulations on the win, David.
Thank you.
Job well done.
Thank
Bye-bye,
you.
everybody.
Bye-bye.
All right, bye, guys.
I'm staying, but they're leaving. So.
Fun playing with you. Fun playing with you. Bye-bye.